We will down the road.
Hey, welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. I'm with Corin Nemec, and it's been just an incredibly fascinating hour with a multi-layered, faceted man who's got so much to share with us that is valuable in life and your life lessons. And I hope you keep writing books.
Oh yeah, thanks,
Next
man.
chapter
Thank you very much.
in your life there. So let's talk about the film. Corin, it was released on July, I think 17th or 7th, actually. You can check it out streaming on all the streaming channels pretty much. It's Dead Man's Hand. Tell me about the film.
Well, Dead Man's Hand came about a number of years back. Myself and Brian Skiba, who's been a producing partner and friend of mine for quite some time. We've done a number of films together. We came together the very first time on a film called Rotten Tale, which is a horror comedy that centers around Easter holiday and a scientist who gets bitten by a mutated rabbit in his laboratory, and just like the fly, like Brundlefly, he slowly morphs into half man, half rabbit, and goes back to his hometown of Easter Falls to deal with his old high school bully, who also is the town bully now, and is a corrupt businessman and whatnot. And so it was a really fun experience working with him. We did a bunch of stuff after that, but the movie itself was based on a graphic novel of the same title that was produced by Source Point Press, which is an awesome independent comic book publishing company.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a whole catalog of great material. And they had this whole series called No Rest for the Wicked. Not a whole series, it was a 3-part series called No Rest for the Wicked by this group of artists, the Minor Brothers, three brothers who all do different parts of the comic book. And they're great guys. And so they had this great, just spaghetti Western, shoot 'em up, just old school Western style approach to these comics, and they were rad the way they were drawn and everything. And me and Brian were pretty obsessed with them. And eventually Brian, had been talking to them, and they wanted to pull the trigger and try and make that next one, see if they could get that off the ground. And I had done some writing with Brian and for Brian in the past on other projects. And he came to me and asked if I'd be willing to do the adaptation from the graphic novel into the script version. Because graphic novels, the way that the stories are told are, not all of them have a really clear-cut beginning, middle, and end, and character introduction and outros and all these. There's, what I mean? They're kind of like shotgunning a story. It's almost more about the art than it is even the story in some graphic novels. But that said, these had great stories. So I took the first book of 3, which is called Dead Man's Hand, No Rest for the Wicked, Dead Man's Hand. Then there's 2 more after that. And I wrote the screenplay version of the graphic novel, which then Brian was able to take and get Stephen Dorff attached to, Cole Hauser attached to, through a producing partner of his, Randall Battenkoff, who's a good friend of mine as well from way back in the day. And they were able to get the film off the ground. I mean, I would have loved to have played a bigger role in it, but the point is that myself and Brian wrote it together, and I had the pleasure of writing the first draft all on my own, which was a blast. And and seeing it come to life, that for me was the biggest part. So having the writing credit on that, more so than having a character that's barely seen throughout the film, is far more important why the film is seen, because I really enjoyed the way that the story unfolded in that respect. So, and again, I think it's a classic Western. I think Jack Kilmer does a good job, and everybody else, and Stephen Dorff and Cole Hauser, forget it. Those guys are just big hitters. And their performances are excellent, and all of the ancillary cast are really strong too. And Brian Skiba, under very, very tight financial constraints and shooting schedule. I mean, he did this, he did that film. I won't even say how quick he shot that film in. It wouldn't be fair to him. But he did an incredible job, an incredible job for the constraints that he was under in making that movie come to life.
What's next for you?
Check it out.
Yeah,
a bunch of stuff. I got tons of stuff coming out. Another film, Place of Bones, a Western with Heather Graham and Tom Hopper. I'm starring in that with her. and him, and a film with Harvey
When's that out?
Keitel. I'm not sure
Yeah,
just
sure.
yet. All of these are finished in the
Well,
last year.
I'll make sure to update everybody when they come out. I'll let
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
know.
yeah. Another one called Joe Baby with Harvey Keitel, Ron Perlman, Deacon Lockman. I wish I had a list, because honestly, I have like five or six stuff, films all coming out.
What do you
That
like doing the
they're just
most?
waiting. But
Are you liking loving the screenwriting? Is there a favorite, or do you like that
yeah,
they
in
challenge
all
you in a different way?
honesty, yeah. To wrap it up, in all honesty, if I could make the kind of money that I would like to make in life, just writing screenplays, that I would be as happy as a clam. I could go, I could find my writing nest, build my perfect little beautiful writing nest, have all my books from my library, be surrounded by my interests and all of that, and just write. Because to me, writing stories is, it's as close as you'll ever get to, and I'm not, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, and I don't mean it to sound ridiculous like this, but it's as close to like a godhead as any one person can get when it comes to creation. So because you're creating the whole story of these characters. Of course they're fictional, of course it's not real, I understand all of that, but but you have total control over the beginning and the middle and end of their lives. Well, what the twists and turns of their life experience are, what kind of characters they are, how did they grow up, what's their education, what's their background, all of those things get to go into it, which is just as exciting about doing character development and creating a character for acting. But in writing, it's the entirety of the world. It's the whole entire world. Where do all of the things take place? How do they take place? What's the setting? What's the time period? Is it in the future? Is it in the past? Is it an alternate dimension? Is it, the creative freedom in writing a story like that, whether you're a novelist or writing screenplays or whatever, is just, to me, that's my signal.
Okay, that's your signal to go.
That's
So,
my signal. I gotta go.
Corin
But
Nemec,
thanks so much, man.
thanks a lot,
Thank you
Corin.
so much, Jeremiah. We'll
Prolific,
do it again for
inspiring,
sure. When
creative.
some of these other projects come out, we'll catch back up and do it again.
Okay, you can drop off. I'll say my goodbye here on the radio. I also wanted just to mention
Love you,
Tim
bud.
Stack, who introduced us, but you can go. Good to see you, Corin. I know you got to go to the next thing. Again, he's inspiring. He's so creative and prolific. Corin Nemec, my special guest today. You can check out his latest movie right now, Dead Man's Hand, which you've been talking about this hour. He's an actor, producer, writer, graffiti artist, and he is on I'm Corin Nemec on Instagram, and you can also check out his graffiti art at the 169. Thank you so much, Corin. Communicate, but listen more and evolve.